We asked ChatGPT to build a registration and login form as part of an ASP.NET Core application. We gave it 10 minutes to see what code it would generate. Afterwards, we added the code to an ASP.NET Core application in Visual Studio to see if it would build and run. Let's see how it gets on. Subscribe for more .NET and C# videos. Okay, let's start the timer and we're off. The 10 minutes have started. So we want to get it to build an ASP.NET Core application. So we're going to command it to build an ASP.NET Core application. We want it to consist of a home page, registration page, a login page, and an authorized page. Now we need to be a bit more specific as to what we want to have on these particular pages. So on the registration page, we want to ensure that a user can fill in their email address and password and submit the form. Then these details will be sent through to an ASP.NET Core controller, and we want to store the user in memory. Then we want to specify that the user should also be able to log in with the same credentials, and it should generate a JWT token for that authenticated user. Now we're going to put some specifics about the authorized page. The authorized page can only be viewed if the user is logged in, and a 401 response should return if they are not logged in. And we also just want to specify that it should include any CSS files as part of the application. We want to specify it for the forms and the pages. Right, let's see what it produces for us. So it's starting to write out the code. This looks like the program.cs file. So yeah, interestingly, it's already gone through. So it's added our secret here, added some authentication, and it's done the JWT bearer. It's add authorization. And then from there, it's using minimal APIs. It's created the register. So it's created a user model for us. And it's also created a login. So the user model there is a public record. Let's see if it can give us an image of how it's going to look. How it's going to look through an image. This might give us a better understanding as to how it looks. Okay, so it's still processing this. I've noticed it hasn't given us any CSS despite the fact that I've asked it to. Are you able to supply any CSS? Also, I can't see any of the views. So we're going to stop it from producing that image because obviously we've noticed there's no CSS, there's no HTML, there's no razor views there. So we're going to ask it to produce that. So it's going ahead, it looks like it's modifying the code. Here we go, right. So it looks like it's outputting it to the index.html, and now it's giving us some HTML. So it's given us the HTML now for the login and the registration page. Let's see now if it's able to produce that image for us. So we're going to ask it whether it can produce an image to show how it's going to look on the page. And I think the reason why it was struggling earlier is because it didn't actually have any HTML. Because of rate limits, it's unable to do that at the moment. I'm just trying to work out how it's actually going ahead and adding all of this. It's adding it, rather than adding it statically, it's adding it within code. Let's see if we can change it to use ASP.NET Core controllers. So it uses ASP.NET Core controllers and views. Let's see if it's able to produce the code for us. Okay, so it's going through. It's now creating the MVC controllers for us. So it says I've updated the code to use ASP.NET Core controllers and views. It now includes a home controller for the main page, an account controller for registration, login, and authorization. Again, though, it's missing the views because I can't see them anywhere. Right, it's got the controllers there. So I'm going to ask it, what about the views for the controllers? I can't see any HTML anywhere. It's going ahead and modifying all the controllers. So now it's, yeah, once again, it's producing it in code by the looks of it. But I think if we have a look at the code in the last minute or so, it looks like it's got most of the code there. So it's got the authentication, the authorization. It's built us a user service. And it's building the application and then running it. It's created the user model for us. And then we've got the separate services within the user service, the ability to register a user. We can also validate one by the looks of it as well. I'm guessing that's something to do with login. So the home page, simple login, account controller, it's got a registration view, one where you get it and one where you post it. So that's where you actually do the registration. Then you've got the login. So this will sign in. This will use, by the looks of it, authentication. So it's using the HTTP context sign-in async. And we've got the authorized page and the logout page. We're going to run out of time, but let's see if we put this into an ASP.NET Core application, how it's going to work. So I've added the code that ChatGPT generated into an ASP.NET Core application, and in Visual Studio I'm currently viewing it. Now I've decided to add each of the classes into separate files, but for some reason it decided to use the Microsoft Entity Framework Core, despite the fact that I asked it to store users in memory and made no mention of the fact that I was using Entity Framework Core. I've had to remove these because they're in separate files. In the user model, it hasn't specified for the strings whether they're non-nullable or whether they have a default value. Bit of a minor one there, but something to pick up on. And it didn't generate a layout.cs HTML file as well, so I created my own and just added the render body method. It also overwrote the CSS files that it initially generated, but we do have a working application. Let's give it a go. Put in an email address of me@me.com and a password of 123. It's now asking us to log in. We log in with the same email address and the password, and it's redirected us to our authorized page. If we log out now, if we try to get onto that authorized page, it's not letting us. It's redirecting us back to the login page. Although it's work in progress, ChatGPT was able to build us a working application in as little as 10 minutes. It's no wonder that .NET developers are wondering if AI is going to take their job. However, you can use ChatGPT to produce code faster and improve your skill set. Let me know in the YouTube comments what you use ChatGPT for and how you find it.